On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. And other boats were with him, and a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. And they woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. He said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" This passage could be one that people would try to pass off as merely a prophet doing his usual thing of miracles. However, this would not be the case. An example of another prophet seemingly having control over water would be Moses. In Exodus 14, we see Moses extending his staff over the water and it splitting, right? Not quite. See, at this point of the story, the Israelites have left Egypt, arrived at the Red Sea, and is now in fear of the incoming Egyptians who are going to enslave them again. It is Moses who then declares that God will provide a way of which God then responds. "Why do you cry to me? Tell the people of Israel to go forward. Lift up your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, that the people of Israel may go through the sea on the dry ground." Notice as it continues that in verse 21, Moses does as instructed, but it was Yahweh who drove the sea back by a strong east wind all night and made the sea dry land. This miracle is a work of God through an obedient servant. It was not Moses who parted the sea, but Yahweh, with Moses being the one acting in faith. Moses knew what to do due to a command from Yahweh after the people cried out to Yahweh. When we turn back to Mark 4, we see a storm in the midst of a sea with Jesus asleep in the back on a cushion while the apostles are in fear. Jesus is awoken and immediately rebukes the storm. This was not done with prayer beforehand, nor a command from God. This was Jesus himself acting out and calming the storm. Even the apostles recognize this when they state, "Who then is this that even the wind and the sea obey him?" From their understanding, only God has this kind of control over the sea. The apostles, Jews, and author of Mark would be thinking of passages like Psalm 104, 6-7, which reads, "You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. At your rebuke they fled. At the sound of your thunder they took flight." Also passages like Psalm 65, verses 7-8, which reads, "Who stills the roaring of the seas, the roaring of their waves, the tumult of the peoples, so that those who dwell at the ends of the earth are in awe at your signs," as well as several other passages. There is a deep and rich theological understanding of the sea, the deep, rivers, and water in general beyond just that of what we think of today. In short, the waters are a beautiful gift for life, but can also be of great chaos and destruction of which no man can control. Only God can control the chaos and split the sea. In this case, Jesus, who commands the sea and speaks against the storm, has the power that Yahweh has. Remember, he did not pray or receive commands from God in this passage. He did this of his own volition. Mark is attributing this miracle to the idea that Jesus is Yahweh. While man cannot control chaos, Yahweh is able to silence the storms simply by speaking.